Hey, this is Alex Head, founder of Subtext Radio.
This is Subtext.
Please go ahead and click the like button and the subscribe button. It really helps us to reach new audiences and promote the artists that we work with. Hit like and hit subscribe. Hello, can you hear me?
Hello. Ship to shore.
Ship to shore indeed.
Are you there?
I am, yeah. Can you hear me?
Are you there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay.
I can hear you. As long as can you hear me?
Yeah, it's slightly complicated because I've got you on the headphones going through the microphone and the computer, and I'm on a microphone going back into the mixer. None of this really matters.
It strikes me it probably all matters, really.
Yeah, it all matters.
I'm going to sit down.
Well, that's a good
I'm
idea.
sitting on the decking. Is it sunny there?
Yeah, it's lovely. It's lovely. Just in the second week of the residency now, and we're doing,
Yeah.
I've got a sort of gap between guests, so I'm doing a show on gratitude. And
Oh, I see. Good on you.
giving thanks and all this, and you know you're quite involved for lots of things that you've done for us over
That's
the years.
cool. Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving.
Very
But yeah, I just
Absolutely.
wanted to check in with you and just ask you
Yeah.
like how you're doing and what you're working on at the moment. Like, what's the thing that's on the boil?
I'm working on some work about, well, it's based around, to some extent, a poem of Charles Wright's, and it's called Scar Tissue. Because the iron oxide pieces are about the migration of iron oxide itself, which is kind of what it's done forever. And so the idea that I take a rust bed from London to Cornwall and make some work there seems quite a nice thing to do.
How did you get into doing the iron oxide pieces? Could you just tell me a little how you started doing that?
Well, like a lot of these things, it's an accident. I was making some pieces with mild steel, and the idea was that I was going to pour wax pages, like make a paginated book, which represented sort of poems, really, with beeswax from Tennessee, because of Charles Wright coming from Tennessee. And then I started to make them, and I had them all on the wall. There's about 22 sheets of steel hanging on the wall. And I started to make them, and I looked at it, and I thought, if I saw this in a gallery, I would be so rude. And so I ripped them all off the wall, and I slung them all out in the garden. Guess what? They went rusty.
Cool. So you started with the printed text, and then it evolved through different...
Well, it's not the printed text. Yeah, it started off with poetry.
Yeah.
And poetry about landscape and death, and so getting the beeswax from Tennessee with like raw wax with dead bees and bits in. They're the bees that work in the landscape that Charles Wright writes about. So that seemed quite
interesting. Nice.
Proper.
It's interesting that you talk about like the landscape and death, and here we are out here exploring this slightly strange island with all of its life cycles are very visible. Also, human life cycles very visible. But yeah, that's interesting. I was reading some of the Tao Te Ching earlier and sort of critiquing it a little bit and using it to try and think about the space, about the landscape, and about different feelings in different places on the island. Which obviously, that was a book which you gave me, and that was kind of nice to come to that kind of like secular religious relationship with the spiritual, and sort of this show in many ways is about sort of giving thanks, but without trying to dip into that kind of theological dogma. because it's in a way something which we don't have anymore, even though for you it was kind of forced upon you. For the next generation, it's like kind of there's something missing as well, so it's kind of an ongoing process, I guess, coming to terms with spiritual life.
I think it's just different, you know. I mean, when you consider that the constitution in Ireland was knocked over from it being illegal to have abortions to now being legal by a huge majority, that says a great deal in my mind about the positive side of people having their own say and not letting, you know, religion and spirituality are, in my mind, two different things. My art is this place that I feel more spiritual in than anywhere else, or you know, like the fact that I would often say to you, the thing that I'm always looking for is to find a field to go and play in, you know, like I was a little boy. That's it. That's really all there is.
And it's kind of a practice. I think what you're outlining is like it's about having a practice, like with your friend who's the Buddhist, and with these kind of tracts, these kind of historical tracts, and your own studio practice. It's like you know, it's one practice or another, and those are the things that kind of bind us together. There's lots of things that are coalescing and sort of discoalescing, if you like, from time to time. So I guess
that's what happens with the rust, of course. You know, I deliberately kind of put myself in a situation where I'm out of control of certain stuff, but I know all the time that actually I'll bring it back and be in control again.
Yeah,
that's exactly what I do.
That sounds familiar. Okay, do you want to request a song which I'll play on the radio for you? I thought that might be quite nice. I've played a few things which you might like anyway, but do you have a request?
A request? Right off the top of my head?
That I'm going to have.
Well, you get it easy enough.
I'll find it. Yeah, I can find stuff, yeah.
I want you to play the original version of Dylan's Like a Rolling Stone.
Okay, great. That's coming up for you.
It's like two-way family favourites.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for taking time. Thanks for everything, man. It's been nice to speak, and I'll speak to you soon, and see you in Berlin soon. Yeah.
Oh yeah, soon. Take care.
Yeah.
Love you.
Okay,
Bye bye.
Love you, Dad. Have a lovely day.